Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today, continuing through the top 100. It's taken me longer than I expected, but we're powering through. Entering the top 40 today. So today will be 40 through 31, and who knows, maybe I'll do another one today too to try and stay on track here and get these done with. But hope you're enjoying. I'm enjoying doing this, even though life is crazy. It's hard to get through them. So without any further ado, 40 through 31. Number 40 is one I do not own, and this is Baseball Highlights 2045. I played this. I talked about it actually in my top 10 new games of games that were new to me of 2024. Played this one with Jonathan at Origins. I was just like, we needed a two-player game. I was like, I've always wanted to try this one. Let's bring it out. And we were able to read the rules, learn them. Mostly, we had like a question, and we're like trying to find it online, and then somebody walks by and he's like, "Great game!" And we're like, "Oh, can you tell us the answer to this rule?" And he did. This very much like this, despite the theme being like kind of futuristic, it is very much just baseball, and things kind of work the way you would expect them to. But it's also really interesting because you play like each game is very quick, and so you play like a series of games, and then you play like the World Series. And after each game, you're adding players to your team, so you're doing kind of like a little bit of deck building in the middle of it. And I really enjoyed that. Yeah, hoping to someday pick up a copy, but it's a little bit hard to figure out like what to buy because they've come out with like so many different editions, and there's like a spring training, which is like a mini version of the game. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and that's Baseball Highlights 2045. Number 39, also new to the list. This is a game that we picked up. There's a local game store that mostly does miniatures, and they had a bunch of games for like 50% off. So we picked up a few, and this is Flourish. Played this a lot over Christmas. I really like Flourish. In this game, obviously, it's on the in the top 40. So in this game, you are drafting cards, and the cards are these like beautiful flowers and landscapes and things like that. Um, but you're doing the draft in a way that's very different. So this does play up to 7 people, I think. Gosh, I can't even, I'm looking, can't even see all this stuff. Anyway, I think it's up to 7. Where does it even tell me this? Aha, 7. This is great content. Um, the way you're doing the draft is so you will have a hand of, I think, 5 cards. You're choosing one to play, one to pass to your left, one to pass to your right, and 2 to keep. So then everybody flips over the card that they're playing, draws the cards that their neighbors pass to them, and draws a new card from the middle of the deck. This is fascinating because and you wind up drafting like I think it's 9 cards over the course of the game, maybe 12. I can't remember. Um, you wind up having 2 cards that you can keep from your opening hand, and I've done this all the way until like the last play. And so this could be one that's like, oh, it turns out I really wanted a lot of these symbols, and therefore, these flower tags, and now I've really like catapulted my score on the last turn. Or even better, like I'm going to pass my neighbor on my right a bunch of mushroom cards, and if they start playing mushrooms, I have this one card that's going to give me like a lot of points for them playing mushrooms. And so you can kind of like guide your neighbors into that a lot. Really interesting game. Really enjoy it. Plays quickly. Once everybody knows what they're doing, it's like 20 minutes or less. That's Flourish. Oh, I put it down. That's Flourish. Number 38, new to the list. This is a game that I own. Shout out to Chris and Elaine for giving me this game. This is Return to Dark Tower. This is a thick box right here, let me tell you. This is a co-op game, and I famously don't like co-ops, with some exceptions. But in this particular game, I'm looking to see if I can show you some of my painted minis. I've only played it solo, so I guess I'm kind of cheating when I say it's a solo game. Here's a guy I painted. I've started painting a lot of the miniatures. I'm sure this does not show up well in front of the camera. But anyway, maybe eventually I'll get through all of them, but there are so many miniatures to paint. In the meantime, I have really enjoyed getting to paint a few of these and then playing with painted minis, which is really fun and not something I do a lot. So yeah, Gameplay wise, like it's a fairly kind of complicated co-op game, but it's also very app based. So I know some people hate that. Some people are like, "Oh, it's not a board game if you're playing with an app." I don't mind. The app works well, and you have this. What? Why am I showing you the painted minis and not the main thing? Oh my gosh! You have this giant tower. I'll tell you, I was real prepared for this. This thing. Look at this. I wonder if I could give this a wash. I'll have to look and see what people have done. But this thing is electronic, and it'll do things like, so at the end of your turn, you toss a little skull into the middle, and then it might like spin, and like skulls come out of the bottom and do effects on the board. And sometimes you take off these seals, and then the skulls start pouring out more from there. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun, and it's like it's got that toy factor. And I am willing to play this with other people and see how it goes. Um, Despite the fact that it is a co-op and it's not one of the co-ops with like hidden information that I tend to prefer. But we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, on the basis of solo only, it's 38. Number 37 is a game that's been on the list for every time I've done this. It's 35, then 29, then 23. It's always bouncing around. Great game. This is The Quest for El Dorado. I do believe this is my highest Reiner Knizia game. Give a quick check. Yeah, I do believe it is. Uh-oh, Domino's freaking out. Hope it's not a mailman. Quest for El Dorado is a deck building game where you are making your way through the jungle to try, and it's a race. First one to El Dorado wins. It's pretty simple for a deck building game. I mean, Reiner Knizia tends to have fairly simple games. And it's really fun. You can do a lot of different strategies. You could hold back a lot and like try and build up your deck and then go really fast, or you could just try and start moving and limp your way across the finish line before the people with good decks actually catch up to you. It's a game I don't play as often as I would like to, but it's really great. That's number 37, Quest for El Dorado. Speaking of games that are really great and I don't play as much as I like to, number 36 is Tribune. This was 8 when I first did the list, then 9, then 16. Now it's at 36, and that's just because I don't play it much. It's a little bit of a hard game to teach in some ways because there's all these interconnecting pieces that you really have to play the game once before you can actually see the strategy for the most part. You could win the first time you're playing, but it's tough. This is hand management, like the theme is Ancient Rome, obviously. And there's lots of different strategies to get to like kind of the menu of options. So you'll have like, here's 6 different things you need to get. The first person to get 4 of them wins the game, or something like that. And because of that, you can pursue different strategies, but you're all kind of going for a lot of the same things. And there's going to be overlap with you and other players. And therefore, like you're always kind of having this direct interaction. So it's like not themed as combat, but it kind of feels a bit like combat because you're like, oh, you have control of the plebeians. I'm going to grab control of that with this. Great game. Really love it. That's Tribune. Number 35 is a game I don't own, though I did very briefly. And this is Bärenpark. This is the last game, I think, in the top 100 that I don't have to show you, though there are a couple more that I do not own, but I have Mark's copy, so I kind of do. I don't, but I kind of do. Bärenpark is 35, and this jumped up a bit, actually. It was 93, then 99, then 83, jumped up to 35. I played it with my mom and with Amy, and it's just a really nice game. It's polyominoes. You're making a bear park, like a zoo just for bears. And yeah, so I bought it at the same time we bought Flourish, actually, at this deeply discounted thing, and then gave it as a gift to my friend Herb. So Herb has my copy now. I mean, his copy now. Yeah, that's a good thing because he likes the game too. Yeah, number 35, Bärenpark. I'll pick up my own copy again someday, that's for sure. Moving on, number 34 was 45 last year. This is Wildspace. So it has moved up since it debuted last year. This is a game, I feel like I picked this up used from Games Unlimited. I play this game with Marianne a lot. They really enjoy it. So do I, obviously. This is a card combos game where you are trying to get like a bunch of different cards that combo well together, so you can have one enormous turn where you're going like, boom, this guy lets me play this guy, lets me play this guy, lets me play this guy, and you keep on going down the line. And it's like space themed with animals, and yeah, it's one of those games that like is both very satisfying when it works out, but you're always chasing that high because it's never really going to work out. So it's the strategy is very much about making do with what you have. Um, and if you go chasing that perfect turn, then every once in a while you're going to have like a blowout win where you're just like, bah! But most of the time you're just like limping across the finish line. Like I managed to make this work, even though it wasn't ideal. Um, Side note: it was a game that came out right before the first convention I ever went to, which was PAX Unplugged in 2019. And so I saw a bunch of advertisements for it at the convention, and I was like, I don't know about that. And it did not do well. Like nobody talks about this game anymore. So you can probably pick up a copy cheap, like I did for $10. Give it a try. That's Wild Space, number 34. Number 33, I think this is the only game that I have anymore, other than some CCGs where I made my own box for it. And this is Star Realms. That's the first box. Here's an expansion. There's another expansion. I used some extra cards and some weird cardboard I had and just put it on this box because it's coming in all these small boxes, but like it's just a bunch of cards. So rather than having a bunch of boxes, I was like, I'm going to get one box that'll fit everything, and I can fit a little bit more in here if I take out these foam things. But yeah, wait, do I have two of the same thing here? I better not. What is this? That's a command deck for the Pact, and this is, the Alliance. They're just both blue. Okay. Whew. Star Realms is a head-to-head deck building game. That is very much a combination of Dominion and Magic the Gathering. I will say they managed to keep the rules, like the text on the cards, a little bit lighter by using a lot of symbols, and the symbols work well, actually. So like this card, this is kind of like your Silveries and Dominion. This one it'll give you 2 money, and you can trash it to get to attack. There's definitely a lot of like interesting strategies you can work into because you each start at like 40 health or something like that, and you're trying to be the first one to get your opponent down to 0 health, which is why I say it's kind of like Magic the Gathering. But yeah, there's different factions. The factions work well together. There's a lot of different expansions for this. There's even like a campaign version of this now. I don't think I need any more than I have. One thing that is fun that I do highly recommend if you ever get this game is the command decks, which are basically asymmetric starting decks, something I really love in deck building games. And so like you're like, oh, I start with like slightly better cards in red and green, and you start with slightly better cards in yellow and green or something like that. A lot of fun, 2-player only. There's like a way to play it co-op. Don't do that. I played it solo. Don't do that. But it's great with 2. That's Star Realms. I should say this has been on the list for years. It was 14, then 12, then 22, now 33. Number 32 is the highest party game on my list. Just looking up to double check. Yes, it is. This is Just One. It was 28 last year, 22 the year before that. It's a great game. I would play this game with any different groups of people. We played this with like a 5-year-old, I think. Kids love the game. Adults love the game. It's great for all ages. I'm not sponsored by Just One. In Just One, it's a co-op game where one player will have a card with these 5 words on it. They don't look at it, but they show it to everybody else. Hidden information, right? That's the kind of co-op I like. And then everyone else writes just one word on their little whiteboard thing here, in order to get them to guess it. So if the word is chocolate, for example, they might write these things: milk, sweet, white, dark, Belgian, hazelnuts. Great, but like what happens if 2 people write the same word? So if 2 people wrote like dark, for example, then the person guessing would not get to see that word. And so it's really fun because everyone's like, oh, there's a really obvious guess here, or there's a really obvious clue I can put down. But if I do, someone else is going to put that down. And then the person guessing gets all these weird esoteric guesses, especially if I'm giving them clues. My clues make a lot of sense, I swear. And then they have to try and guess the word. A lot of fun. I feel like it's low pressure. I'm sure some people get stressed out by it, but it's just a fun party game, and you're all just trying to work together to win. So that's number 32. Just one. I say to win, but like, just play. You don't need to keep track of score. And finally, number 31 was 37, then 46. Last year it was 35. It always bounces around around here somewhere. This is Azul. This is the original Azul. This is a kind of a tile laying game, but it's really more of like a drafting game where you get these very pretty pieces that you want to eat because they look like Starbursts, not Starbucks. You're putting them on your board and then you're bringing them over to score points in various different combinations. There are 4 or 5 different versions of Azul now. I just like the OG, like the one with the hexagon tiles that Jess taught me. It's really cool. It's really good. I like that one. The one with the diamond tiles. That's I think the third one. I like that one too. I haven't played the second one. I don't need them. This is great. This is fantastic. Works really well with 2, but it also works well with 3 and 4. Yeah, it's a game you can definitely become better at. And one of those games that like I played with Herb until he beat me, and he's like, okay, now I've done it. Because like there's definitely like varying skill levels. If you play it a lot, you're going to get better. I really like Azul. Works well for families as well, like a family weight game as well. Yeah, that's number 31, Azul. Thanks for watching. I know this one was a little bit longer, but as we get higher, they might get a little bit longer just because I like to ramble about the games more because they're even better. So that was 40 through 31. We got 3 more of these coming, hopefully soon. We will see. And yeah, thanks for watching.